49 in Stockton, 52 degrees in Fairfield as we head up the hill, 54 in Placerville, and temperatures in the lower 30s up in the high country, coming in at 30 and 34 degrees in Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. Wind speeds are generally light across the board. Out of the south right now in Sacramento, around 3 miles an hour. Out of the southwest in Fairfield, around 10, and the winds are expected to stay pretty light throughout the day. So once again, we are dealing with those clouds out there this morning. 55 degrees at 9. By noon, we're going to see more sunshine this afternoon. 65 degrees at noon. By 3 o'clock, warming up to 75. Our average is 72, so above average for today. We'll drop into the lower 70s at 6, and by 9 o'clock down to the lower 60s. So a mild day today, but we are going to see some warmer temperatures later this week. I'll show you how warm we could get coming up. Back to you, Leticia.
Lynn, thank you. Here are the latest headlines about the coronavirus. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been released from the hospital. Johnson had been in the hospital for a week and had spent 3 nights in the intensive care unit. Here in the U.S., there are 530,000 people with coronavirus. More than 20,000 have died. 22,000 Californians have tested positive and 634 have died. Christians around the world are celebrating Easter today, but gatherings and festivities will look different with the pandemic. Churches are streaming their services online, and families are turning to technology to stay connected while remaining socially distant. That includes churches in Northern California. The faithful are worshiping from home in front of their computer or TV screens. KCRA3's Melanie Wingo joins us live now from the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament with more. Melanie, good morning.
Good morning, Leticia. Well, on a typical Easter Sunday, the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament would see huge crowds, but as we know, that won't be the case today. Parishioners have been encouraged to worship from home and watch services online. Such a different scene right here last year on Easter Sunday on the inside of the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament. Mass was offered by Sacramento Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese, Jaime Soto. Easter brought congregants together and they filled the pews as they celebrated Easter. Easter this year is different, of course, but Vicar General of the Sacramento Diocese, Father Michael Vaughn, encourages people of the Catholic faith to embrace this opportunity to worship online.
Now, most Catholics right now are watching online from, most parishes are doing services. I think it's a rarity that one's not doing one right now. So, given that context, you could even go to Mass with the Pope this evening if you wanted to. You would have never had that opportunity before.
And back out here live, Father Vaughn also encouraged the faithful to pray for frontline workers in the coronavirus crisis. Also asked people of all faiths to remember those workers as well. Reporting live in Sacramento, Melanie Wingo, KCRA 3 News.
Melanie, thank you. And Governor Newsom is reminding people to find ways to celebrate Easter today. He says the state's efforts so far have made a big difference in the state's fight against the coronavirus. Governor Newsom tweeted yesterday, California has been flattening the curve thanks to the millions of people staying home and practicing social distancing. The worst thing we can do is get ahead of ourselves. Staying home is literally saving lives. This isn't over yet. We have to keep it up. He also posted a video with the first partner and their children thanking essential workers and wishing everyone a happy Easter.
And we appreciate all our first responders, healthcare workers, our grocery workers, everybody that's keeping essential businesses going and keeping people healthy and safe. And we just want to extend our appreciation and admiration to all of you out there that are continuing to do what you can to bend the curve in the state of California. And so we want to wish you all a very happy Easter.
And while many Easter celebrations across the country look different, not all pastors are following safety guidelines to avoid large gatherings. KCRA3's Aixa Diaz joins us live now from Washington. And Aixa, what's the message from the White House on this?
Leticia, the president has changed his message about this. Initially, he had wanted to see packed churches on Easter. Now he's telling people to worship from home.
I know there are some pastors and ministers and others that want to get together.
President Trump asking Christians to stay home this Easter morning as the nation nears the peak of the coronavirus outbreak.
We'll be attending church right in the living room at the Vice President's residence, where we've been attending for the last several weeks.
Many churches are finding creative ways to engage with their congregations while still practicing social distancing. But some pastors are defying orders to avoid gatherings of more than 10 people. They argue the stay-at-home orders violate their First Amendment rights.
Yes, his constitutional rights are being impinged upon. But constitutional rights are not absolute. State governments, and we're talking about state governments with these issues, have wide-ranging authority to ensure the safety, the health, the welfare of their citizens.
Some states have deemed houses of worship essential, like grocery stores and gas stations, allowing them to remain open. Leticia.
And so what about holding services outside?
Health officials still warn against that as well. They say even though it's outdoors, it's still a large gathering. Even if you keep 6 feet away from others, they just don't want you leaving the house and gathering with other people. Again, some churches are doing drive-through or drive-in church. You pull up in your car and you stay in your vehicle the whole time. Also, most churches are just doing streaming services online, which is what health officials advise people to do.
You can watch it from the comfort of your own home. Thank you, Aixa, for your report this morning. Pope Francis led his Easter Mass in an empty St. Peter's Basilica today. The event was scaled down by the coronavirus pandemic. The Easter Sunday Mass usually attracts up to 100,000 people in St. Peter's Square. This year it was held inside the church with only a handful of attendants assisting the Pope. The Mass was live streamed for faithful who could not attend in person. All of his Holy Week activities were modified, taking place with no public participation. Back in Northern California, an investigation is underway after a shooting in South Sacramento involving a police officer. It happened yesterday at around 4:30 near the intersection of West Stockton and Bruceville Road. We have video of this shooting, but we do want to warn you, it is quite graphic. This cell phone footage captures a suspect exchanging gunfire with officers. It began when officers attempted to make a traffic stop. The man had been wanted for an attempted homicide in Marysville. Sacramento police say when they pulled him over, shots were fired between the suspect and officers. The man was hit and taken to the hospital. He is listed in stable condition. No officers were hurt during the shooting. One man is under arrest after a deadly stabbing in Stockton. It happened last night at 8 near South Olive Avenue and East 6th Street. Police were called to an area about a disturbance, and when they arrived on scene, they found 2 men who had been in a fight, and one of them had several stab wounds. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. The other person was arrested. The identity of the victim has not been released. We're learning more information about the person who led police on a high-speed chase from Sacramento County to Solano County. Lifecopter 3 was overhead Friday afternoon, following what the CHP says was a stolen car along Interstate 80. The driver went from Sacramento County into Yolo County and then into Solano County before spinning out of control, rolling over and crashing. The driver was hurt and taken to a hospital. Alberto Gonzalez was booked into the Sacramento County Jail, and he is charged with stealing a car, fleeing police, and driving without a license. Up next, determining whether you already had the coronavirus. The drive-through testing happening this weekend and why researchers say this information is key moving forward. And pen pal letters to the rescue, how the community came together to connect with a man in need. But first, we're taking a live look outside, a gorgeous sunrise from Stockton. A nice day ahead.